Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, we break down the TikTok ban that is actually still technically in place. Nvidia launches new GPUs, at least they did on paper. Samsung announces the most disappointing phone yet. Nintendo announces the Switch 2, so we'll all shut up about it finally. And Cyborg Pianists are coming. Yes, you heard that right. I'm finally back from sick leave, and this is all coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or so I'm going to read this Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. Yep, I've been gone for a bit. We couldn't get anyone to fill in, mostly because I was too sick to try and go through the effort of getting someone to fill in. Now, I had a very, very, very bad case of the flu. And being told actually what I have now is called whooping cough, which is supposed to linger for up to a month, but the worst of it has passed. I just have a lingering cough that sounds really bad, so we'll see. We will see. Last time I was actually on was we had a different president the last time I was on. There's a different guy in the office now, and that guy, for reasons no one can explain or decipher, launched not one but two cryptocurrencies. There is the Trump meme coin and the Melania meme coin. Trump meme coin is currently at $15 billion cap, although now it is significantly lower, as well as the Melania cap is somewhere at $2 billion. This is the bizarre thing about this, because this whole thing is beyond surreal. So let's first go over what is a meme coin. Okay, a meme coin is a cryptocurrency that is meant to just be gotten and just held on to because it's an inside joke. That is the thought process behind it. And the thought process is that the meme becomes funny enough that the value goes up and then you sell at a profit. It's meant to be an investment, but not really one. It's a meme. Here's what a meme coin actually is. A meme coin is you find a bunch of idiots to go ahead and buy your currency, okay? You then make a profit on the transaction fees on it, which usually aren't too bad. Although lately people have been putting some serious transaction fees on these meme coins, especially when you look at something like the Haktua coin, another meme coin that launched with, God, how many 15 million in transaction fees they made before they rugged and made a lot more. The other thing, of course, is the fact that 20% of the coins here for Trump are available, and the remaining 80% are owned by insiders, allegedly including Trump himself, the Trump family companies, and the coin's developers. Now, here's the thing with this, okay? When a crypto is both out in the open and anyone can see it, and also hidden at the same time, every single transaction that is made in crypto is on the blockchain, because all the blockchain is a ledger that marks down who owns what. That ledger is decentralized. It is maintained by all the various computers that are mining. That's basically how the whole thing operates, okay? What's hidden is it's hard to tell whose wallets are what. The tricky part in all of these is figuring out who owns the wallet. We see here that 80% is owned by several insider wallets. Who do those wallets belong to? Is this actually Trump owned, and he's putting himself at serious risk of committing massive amounts of fraud, and also therefore putting himself up for a serious legal battle / impeachment battle, of which he just got out of one. So why the heck would you want to get into another one And before anyone goes, "Ugh, immunity," you really want to go ahead and push that luck? Especially when the evidence is as plain as day and public. Like, this all gets to be very bizarre. And it does make me wonder, is this something actually being done by now the current administration? Or is this someone else doing this in their name on an offshore blockchain network to just try and cash in? Like, you wonder that. But then at the same time, the Trump Twitter account goes ahead and retweets all of this and promotes the coin, both on Truth Social, his own social network that we kind of just ignore exists because I really don't care about it, but then also on Twitter. So that'd point at clearly the guy's in on it. Well, at the same time, though, a guy like Trump would also have a social media team. Is it someone in the team that is doing this and trying to sneak in under the radar? Like, there's just so many layers of this, and it's so blatant. It's so bad looking. And it's either the guy is stupid and just believes he can get away with anything, which, no. The moment this is rugged, it's over. It hasn't been rugged yet. The moment it is, it's over. Or it's being done without his knowledge, but being done with his name by members on his team. Honestly, to me, both are equally likely. And I don't know what to make of this. I'm leaning more towards it being an inside job with his team rather than actually involving the Trump family themselves. Because this is way too blatant. It's way too blatant. Especially when leading up to the inauguration, we had another major issue that went down. That, of course, being TikTok. So first things first, we talked about this in a breaking news episode, I'm fairly certain, before I lost the ability to talk. That was the fact the Supreme Court ruled that no, TikTok can in fact be banned. The law banning TikTok is valid. So right then and there, the ban is going to go into effect. And it did. However, everything leading up to the ban is crazy. Okay? Let's start from the very beginning. Okay? Over a year ago, all the way back at the very beginning of 2024, a law was passed with bipartisan support to ban TikTok, which had several amendments made to it. Eventually, the ban included basically a stern statement, but also forbid any mobile device from installing the app. This made perfect sense at the time, seeing as how the biggest concern that TikTok posed from a security standpoint was the fact that it was scraping data that it was not supposed to have access to on the phone and sending that off to the Chinese. So everyone else going, but Facebook also stalks you and all that jazz. They do. TikTok does way more. Every other social media platform in the US does in fact harvest data. They harvest a lot of data. But what TikTok did was try to go ahead and steal data from other applications on the phone, as well as your location, as well as your real-time GPS data, as well as your MAC address, and other things that were not supposed to be available to the app. That was the big concern over a year ago when the TikTok ban was crafted. So the ban was very simple. You just could not install the TikTok app. Not on your iPhone, not on your Android phone, and that was about it. You still could, on paper, view TikTok through a web browser. Nothing is stopping you. If you have the app on your phone, nothing is stopping you. All right? I want you to remember that. All right? Because we've talked about this before, that is in fact what the TikTok ban was. We've talked about that several times, in fact. I even talked about how I felt it was a stupid ban to do going into an election year. I thought that ban was going to play a huge role in the election. Somehow it didn't. It only did, after the election. The world is stupid. So then, hours before the ban goes into place, the ban was supposed to go into place. I don't remember exactly when. It was supposed to be a Sunday. It was supposed to go into effect. The day before, TikTok went dark. That was it. If you tried to access TikTok, you were just SOL. But here's the best part, okay? Before they went dark, the Biden administration, the outgoing administration said, don't worry, the Sunday when the ban's supposed to go into effect, his office will not enforce the ban. So for those who don't understand this, how this works is that the legislative branch, the Congress and the Senate, they write laws. They then have to pass the law with a majority vote between both of them. Okay. Then it goes off to the executive branch or the president. They then give the final say on whether it's good to go and sign it into law or it's vetoed. If it's vetoed, then the legislative branch either amends the law or the bill, actually at that point, or they can try and override the veto with a 2/3 vote. Why am I going into the schoolhouse rock lesson? Because one of the other things the executive branch does is that they enforce the law. They are the ones, the entire executive branch, not just the president, but every single member of the president's cabinet, the Department of Justice, the FCC, the FTC, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything under that executive branch enforces the law. So the executive branch can, in fact, just say, look, we're not going to enforce the law because we strongly suspect, in a day, something's going to be worked out with an incoming administration. A rogue executive branch can say, we're just not going to enforce this law because X, Y, and Z. And then that's when lawsuits can happen to start trying to force the executive branch to enforce the laws. But in this case, this would be a in good faith reason for the Biden administration to not enforce this ban, because they have strong reason to believe that the incoming administration, because they've said it publicly, is going to work out something so that the app doesn't have to go dark. This was stated on the 16th. Someone in chat points out that January 19th is when the app went dark. I want to actually go back to a calendar and make sure that's correct. Yeah. So actually, no, they're actually incorrect. The 18th is when the app went dark. So it went dark on Saturday. It was supposed to go dark on the 19th TM. So dark TM. But it was actually on the 18th, that Saturday, that it went dark. Okay. So what does TikTok have to say about Biden saying, don't worry, we're just not going to enforce that? Well, first off, I realize my slides are out of place. There we go. There's my post. So what did TikTok have to say about the Biden administration saying we're not going to go ahead and enforce the ban? We're going to let it go to the next administration. TikTok's actual statement. The statements issued today by both the Biden White House and the Department of Justice have failed to provide the necessary clarity and assurances to the service providers that are integral to maintaining TikTok's availability to over 170 million Americans. Unless the Biden administration immediately provides a definitive statement to satisfy the most critical service providers assuring non-enforcement, unfortunately, TikTok will be forced to go dark on January 19th. What else were you looking for? They just said we're not going to enforce it. Period. We are going to leave all of the enforcement of this law to the next administration, which has said they are going to work out something. I'm not a fan of the Biden administration, but they laid this out about as clearly as they could. And here's the best part, all right? Remember what I said about the ban? The ban was about what? It was about new installations. That's it. That's literally it. New installations. That's the only thing that's banned. The law wanted to do more. But after a lot of hemming and hawing, that's all they got through on the ban. So what ended up happening? Well, first off, TikTok went dark. You could not access it at all. To which then they put on their front page a message that said, an important update from TikTok. We regret that a US law banning TikTok will take effect on January 19th and force us to make our services temporarily unavailable. We are working to restore services in the US as soon as possible. We appreciate your support. Please stay tuned. But this gets better. Because how many of you have heard of CapCut? Now, if you actually view a lot of TikToks and YouTube Shorts and other TikTok clones, CapCut actually might be a name you've seen a couple of times. Because people who use the El Cheapo version of CapCut have their logo in there. CapCut is a software that's used on the phone to edit TikTok style videos. Did you know that CapCut is also owned by ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok? Because they also went dark. Whoops. This gets better though. Marvel Snap was also gone because apparently the publishing company of Marvel Snap is also owned by ByteDance. Again, first off, the law's focus was TikTok, not CapCut and not Marvel Snap. And again, the focus of the law was still, underlined, still, to prevent new installs. There is no reason to shut down the services at all unless you want to go ahead and flex your power. This whole going dark thing is ByteDance playing games. 100%. This whole thing, all of it, the 18 hours of no TikTok was just ByteDance trying to go ahead and flex to the US government that they have more control over our population than they think. That's it. That's all it was. Now, that being said, though, shortly after Trump came in, Trump went ahead and contacted people. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. This is for something else. What was even better about this is that this whole thing about ByteDance playing games, there was definitely some wide splash damage as people in the northern country of Canada also found out that a large number of them did not have access to TikTok during this time. Apparently, ByteDance's ability to geo-block the US is not as accurate as they might want people to believe. I actually wonder, do you think some Mexican citizens near the southern border weren't able to use TikTok either? Do you think there was some splash damage south of the border as well as north of the border? I legitimately wonder. Someone in chat said they probably just geo-blocked NA. You know, it wouldn't surprise me. I do wonder if when they just made their massive geofence, if they just cut through and blocked off a chunk of Canada too, to make sure they got Alaska. I think that actually might be what happened. May be what happened. But regardless, of course, now you can view TikTok. It's been weeks that we've been able to view TikTok. The current administration has in fact put in a 70-day window where things will be negotiated out to keep TikTok alive in the US. During that time, however, that TikTok wasn't, and leading up to it, probably the funniest thing that I know some people want me to talk about was the fact that some true diehards of TikTok that believe that TikTok was a bastion of free speech. By the way, TikTok is not a bastion of free speech. TikTok is a bastion of stupid speech. Let's just get that out there. There is not much of value on TikTok. And those of you who are hopelessly addicted to TikTok, you know this to be true. And before any of you who are hopelessly addicted to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, I want you to look yourself in the mirror. You know your platform is full of dumb nonsense too. You know it. I know it. Someone in chat asked, don't I post on TikTok? Yes. How do you think I know that things on TikTok are not of any value? The clips I post on TikTok are are not of any sort of great value. They are posted on for people to laugh at me because I post stupid nonsense. I actually have debated putting on like short little like mini news blurbs as shorts and TikToks, and I'm just like, no, that lot of work. But a lot of diehards of the TikTok space, they did want to go ahead and do like, we need to go to a new space of to show that they can't silence our voice by banning TikTok. I know, we'll go to this even more Chinese app. It's called Red Note. All right, you know how TikTok is on paper a state-owned social media platform owned by China? Red Note is, there's no layer of separation there. Like, Red Note just straight up is Chinese government owned. It is state owned. It is a state owned social media platform, just straight up. You know what's even better? The people of Red Note hated the fact that there were tons of Americans flocking to their Red Note platform, just putting on the American kind of nonsense, and they're just like, no, take it away, we want our kind of nonsense, get your stupid fat burger loving butts off our platform. It was funny. I'm not gonna lie, it was really, really funny. Needless to say though, TikTok is allowed back in the US, except here's the thing. You know, they said there's a 70-day window until the TikTok ban goes into place. My US friends, I want you to do something. On your phone, I want you, if you don't have the app installed already, go to either the Google Play Store or the iOS Store and look up TikTok. What you will find, like I find on my screen right now, is a message saying, looking for TikTok? Downloads for this app are paused due to current US legal requirements. The same is still in effect on the App Store as well. You cannot download TikTok, TikTok Studio, TikTok Shop Seller Center, CapCut, Lemon 8, Hypic, Lark Teams Collab, Lark Rooms Display, Lark Rooms Controller, and Goth AI Study Companion. The various apps that are owned by ByteDance that are part of the ban. Notice how Marvel snaps down on there? There is no 70-day hold on the ban. The ban is in effect right now. Surprise. So, what now? Well, realistically, in 70 days, because ByteDance is a petulant child, ByteDance has 70 days to go ahead and try to find someone to partially buy out the American division of TikTok. Once that happens, then these sort of things will be lifted and all will be fine. However, when that deadline hits, I suspect that ByteDance will just make themselves go dark again and throw a temper tantrum, because I already showed they will do it once. And they already said they would rather go ahead and say, yeah, we would rather not be functional in the US at all than let ourselves be bought out. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes down. If there's anything I've learned actually watching the current news, it's never rule anything out, because you have no idea what the heck's going to happen. Unless it involves the Chiefs. They've just got free tickets to every championship ever, apparently. Someone in chat says the CCP can block the sale. Yeah, they can. Just like the US could block the sale. Just like the US can enforce the ban. And now that, in fact, the court has upheld the fact that, yes, you can, in fact, create a law that bans a piece of software that is foreignly made because it is a national security threat, they can go ahead and expand the ban too. Welcome to a political standoff. And all your stupid cat videos and the worst cooking shorts ever to blight the planet are on the line. Whee! Isn't that great, fun, and fantastic? I'm kidding, of course. No one's happy. Someone in chat says let Musk buy it so he can ruin it. Whew. I'll say this much though, as far as the whole thought of Musk running it so that he'll ruin it, here's what I will say. Twitter is lasting a lot longer than a lot of people expected. the blah, blah, blah. Twitter is lasting a lot longer than anyone expected it to under Musk's leadership. I'm not saying that it's better, but it is lasting longer than a lot of people suspected. Also, I love the fact that a lot of people are just like, we're never going to talk about Twitter again because Musk looked super awkward on a stage. I live in crazy land. I am coming firmly to this conclusion. I live in crazy town. Maybe I should have just stayed sick. Just never had to deal with any of this. Just be sick for the next 4 years. I think people might get concerned with me. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk about some other things going on at Apple, as well as with Samsung, who just launched their brand new smartphone. And most likely, we're going to get started talking about the other big bit of Chinese news that happened while I was out ill. You know the one. We'll be back. I just remember we had audio balancing issues. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so Apple has an issue going on right now, and the fact that there is a court case right now forbidding Apple from taking money from Google to have Google be the default search engine on all iPhones. The current statement is the fact that, well, if this case does go through, well, Apple is going to suffer irreparable harm, since, well, there's going to be billions upon billions of dollars, such, about, what is it? 20 billion that Apple would not receive, assuming this deal went through. So Apple's looking to delay this as much as possible, so that they can figure out where to get 20 billion in their budget. Now, it's very easy to go, oh, but Apple's $1 trillion company. They've got to have a few billion running around somewhere because they're worth trillions. Stock value worth is radically different than your actual operating budget. There is a significant difference. And quite frankly, I don't know, does Apple have 20 billion in profits laying around? I actually don't know if they have 20 billion per year just lying around. That'd be what, 5 billion per quarter? It'd be $1 billion and change per month. Like, that actually is a significant amount of change. And I can actually see that being a big deal to Apple. Except for the fact where I look at the sidebar and it shows that Apple reports earnings of 124.3 billion in revenue of Q1. Actually, wait, no, that's just revenue. That's not pure profit. Let's actually quickly take a dive down this. Let's actually talk about this intelligently, rather than just go down the usual rabbit hole of, oh, well, Apple's gotta have a casual few billion laying around. So would this actually send Apple into a serious tailspin without that money? There we go. Profit revenue includes 36.33 billion, and that is quarter to quarter. So yeah, they could take a hit in 5 bill there, but that is a lot. So yeah, they want to try and stall that out as long as possible, because that is some good money they're getting there. So we'll have to see if their pleas fall on deaf ears. Spoiler alert, yes. Yes, they do. I don't see that going any other way. In the meantime, though, iOS 18.3 has removed notification summaries for the news. This all done because, well, recent issues have come up in the case of Apple Intelligence, where in fact, the news summaries were just injecting incorrect information, or in some cases, just combining various titles together. Whoops. Now, here's a real question. Who is surprised? Be honest. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that AI is just performing nowhere near what people expected? The answer, of course, should be no. This has been going on forever. Forever and freaking ever. Again and again and again and again. Generative AI continues to get it right a lot of the time, but holy cow, when it metaphorically rolls a nat 1 on that 20-sided dice, holy smokes, does it fail spectacularly. And unlike your D&D game, generative AI is rolling that dice 20 times a second. It is rolling that dice a lot, which means it's going to run into that 5% chance of failure a lot. That's just the nature of the beast. There's no getting around that. So, hey, surprise. Someone in chat, no way. Someone in chat says, speaking of, it's apparently very easy to get the new Amazon customer service AI to engage in erotic chat with you. No way. There's no way. There's no way. Come on. I can't even. It's okay though. All right. Let's not talk about the failures of AI anymore. Let's instead talk about Samsung's new phone, right? Samsung had their Samsung Unpacked event while I was out sick, and they announced their new Galaxy S25, which was primarily about AI, and pretty much showed that the S25, S25 Plus, and S25 Ultra models are more expensive, have a new chip, and nothing else. Oh, but they have more AI. Woo! AI! You know what's even worse? Let's pretend for a moment that you wanted the best phone they had to offer. You wanted that S25 Ultra. It is actually in a way worse because the build quality actually went down a little bit by the fact that the camera rings are no longer attached to the body of the phone, but instead attached to the lens. So they are easier to pry off and damage the phone. And the actual stylus pen that comes with the phone, like I actually have on my 22 right here. See this thing right here? That no longer has Bluetooth support. So it can no longer be used as a remote control for the phone. So you can no longer use it you can no longer use the stylus as a way to activate the camera from afar. We joke about Apple charging you more for less, but then fail to really give a true example of it. This is actually an example of Samsung giving you less and charging you more for it because the phone starts at $1,300. $1,300 is where their highest end flagship starts. That's insane. By contrast, you compare that to the other ones, the S25 and the S25 Plus, which by the way also did not change a whole lot. The S25 starts at $800, up by $100. The S25 Plus starts at, depending on who you believe, either $1,120 or $1,020. And the Ultra starts at $1,300. By comparison, Apple, who is memed on endlessly for charging you way too much for a phone, has their baseline phone start at $800. Okay, well, we're still getting screwed there. Their bigger screen version, the 16 Plus, starts at $900. So already a value compared to the S25. Their high-end version starts at $1,000, unless you want the big screen that starts at $1,200. How did Apple become the value option here? Samsung, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? What is this? Why do you think you can justify this insane stupidity? You want to know why Apple believes they can charge this much? Because they have an ecosystem to back it up. Because they have the stability to back it up. They go ahead and handcuff you so that you can't go ahead and do certain things you want to. But by God, it's stable. Your platform's not. But you can do anything you want. But you're going to charge these kind of prices? Are you insane? Like, I want you to look at me in the face and tell me that the S25 Plus is anything but a ripoff. Like, what does the Samsung phone get me that the Apple one doesn't, besides Android? I'm just disappointed in Samsung. My disappointment just continues to grow with Samsung. It's not even funny. But it's okay, all right? It's okay. Because they're working on something brand new. Are you ready for this? You know what brand new thing Samsung is working on that you've never seen from any other manufacturer ever? You definitely ever heard rumors of Apple doing the exact same thing? Samsung is teasing that there's going to be a Galaxy S25 Edge, an ultra thin S25 phone. First off, Samsung, I need you to not call anything the Edge. That thing is going to be called the Goon phone so quickly, it's not even funny. Please don't do it. Please call it anything but the Edge. I'm begging you. It was one thing when you had like the Samsung Edge and like the screen curved and almost came to a point. That was one thing. But please no. Please no. I don't want to find out how crusty this phone can be. But yeah, for those who don't know, there is a rumored iPhone Air being worked on that's supposed to be an ultra thin iPhone. So the fact that Samsung is teasing a super thin Galaxy S25 phone is kind of laughable. You know what's also kind of laughable about it? It's the fact that already the phones are pretty crazy thin. I mean, how much thinner do you want your uncased phone to be? Like, how much thinner can this get and not be able to snap in two? Like, I can do this safely. The phone's not going to break with any kind of excessive pressure on it. I have to like really try to snap this phone in two. What if it's half the thickness? I think that quality is going to go, it's going to be gone. Not that it matters, because almost everyone ends up putting their phone in a case anyway. So you're going to be like, oh my God, look how amazing this is. I got my super slim phone. Big deal. You tripled its thickness by putting it in a Pelican case to protect it. What was the point? Thank you, Samsung, for once again proving that this world has gone insane. I think at this point, I'm not going to lie, I think we should take a break. We're going to take a break early, I admit, because this next segment, we're going to knock out two major topics. We're going to talk about DeepSeek, and then we're going to talk about the Nvidia Blackwell launch. You don't want to miss this. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so while I was out, this was the biggest talk. I think this was actually, I think we're now finally into news that is like, at least this past week. I think we're finally into news that's actually recent. Being out for like 2+ weeks sucks. I'm just gonna say that it feels like I've been out for an eternity. But DeepSeek was the AI. It was the hot topic. DeepSeek is an AI released by China. I actually want to see. I already forgot the name of the company in China that released DeepSeek. I think the name of the company might actually just be DeepSeek, but I digress. Oh, I'm blind. It is from Chinese AI startup DeepSeek. So DeepSeek came out, and it is a model that functions very similar to ChatGPT, but it was able to do it for significantly less money and running on significantly less powerful hardware. So for those who don't know, generative AI takes a metric bleep ton of power, like a lot. Like, you thought the 600-watt GPU took up a lot of power in your PC? No, AI nodes usually have a minimum of 4 800-watt GPUs in them. And then there's something like 42 of these nodes in a rack, and then hundreds of those racks to an AI data center. It is insane the amount of GPU horsepower that is required for this sort of stuff, which then in turn requires a metric ton of power. This is, of course, why Nvidia is so valuable right now. The thing is that DeepSeek did it with only, allegedly, $5 million, as opposed to the billions that OpenAI has needed. And in fact, Sam Altman's out there right now trying to fundraise literal trillions of dollars, which, by the way, is insane. That is an insane amount of money for a technology that gets things hilariously wrong 5% of the time. But it's the new shiny technology. Oh my God, it's gotta be amazing. Amazing, I tell you. Well, now all of a sudden DeepSeek comes out here, performs just as well at 0.1% the costs. Now, of course, there's a lot of skepticism that comes from this, all right? I mean, first off, it's the Chinese. The Chinese most likely lied about this, right? Here's the thing. DeepSeek is now open source. You can download it and tweak it as you wish. You could even, if you wanted to torture your hardware enough, even run the thing locally on your current machine. You could run DeepSeek. If you wanted to hear your GPU actually scream out in actual pain because you don't have the hardware to run this. But anyone who does theoretically could. It's out there. Anyone can look at the code that makes it up. Anyone can tweak the code as they want. There is, of course, also some, because it is a Chinese AI, some little revisionist in there, like trying to say that Taiwan is not our country, or refusing to answer questions about events that happened in China's history that the current party of the CCP doesn't want anyone to ever talk about, like Tiananmen Square, and so on and so forth. But it's open source. You can just tweak your version to not do that. This thing, its mere existence, stunned the AI world. You want to know how badly it stunned the AI world? Nvidia's stock price fell 11% in one day. And it has recovered a little bit, but it is not where it once was. All of a sudden now, the big AI narrative of we need bigger GPUs, you need to go ahead and get more Nvidia GPUs, newer hardware, your 2-year-old stuff is now obsolete. Get with the program. You need the new AI GPUs. You need to get more and more of it. AI is the future. Cloud AI, big company AI is the future. You're never going to run this stuff locally. Get that out of your head. That's all insane. All of that narrative crushed, slapped right in the face and disproven by one Chinese AI startup. And keep in mind, that is one Chinese AI startup that, in fact, has a horribly insecure database in which all of the chat history, sensitive information is pretty much open to the public. You thought just the source code was open. No, it turns out everything was stored in plain text with almost no security on it. So everyone can see that you went ahead and went over to DeepSeek and asked it how was Babby formed and where do the birds and bees come from. We can see it. We saw you were that stupid. We found it there in plain text. All the information easily accessible. There is, of course, tons upon tons of critical safety flaws, and finding out that the bot is very easily jailbroken out of its other parameters and able to go ahead and be used for all kinds of other nefarious purposes, because any kind of techniques for preventing it from, say, writing malware is easily bypassed. So that's great and fantastic. That's now out there. Someone in chat asked, can it be used for porn? Yes, but you probably shouldn't. I'm just saying, there's better ones out there for that, probably. And every single researcher that has tested the security of this thing says that, yeah, it fails on all fronts. However, you know what my favorite story about DeepSeek is? My absolute favorite. The question now becomes, how did DeepSeek go ahead and train itself so quickly and get itself up to the same standards as OpenAI at a fraction of the cost? Well, apparently, according to OpenAI, the reason is because DeepSeek stole training data from OpenAI. I'm not going to lie. I wish I wasn't sick. I wish I could have gone ahead and wrote podcasts out, because one of the first things I said when DeepSeek first became real and was first announced was, I said, I'm willing to bet they went ahead and stole data straight from OpenAI to launch themselves for as cheap as they did. And lo and behold, I was right on the money. According to OpenAI, we don't have evidence yet, but that is the claim from OpenAI, that DeepSeek stole data from OpenAI to launch themselves for as cheap as they did. And here's the thing, okay? OpenAI is saying, oh man, you stole from us. How dare you? You monster. How could you steal precious data from us? Oh yeah, because OpenAI is well known for respecting the ownership of data. Oh no, OpenAI has done nothing but be 100% ethical every single step of the way. OpenAI has never, ever, ever, ever stolen copyrighted products for themselves. Never. They have been a bastion of ethical behavior. How many of you can taste my sarcasm? Raise your hands. Can you feel it? Can you taste the sarcasm? All OpenAI has been doing for years now has been skimming everyone's data, your data, my data, your data, your data, your data, your company's data, your art, your fan fiction novels, everyone's. It has been skimming everyone's data. And what have we gotten for it? Nothing. And what has OpenAI got it for it? Stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon stacks of cash for training their idiot bot on everyone's data. But now they're going to go ahead and cry like a big baby that some other AI stole their data. Oh my God, the Chinese stole our data. Piss off. You somehow have even less sympathy from me than you had before. And before you had zero sympathy from me. I have no respect for OpenAI. I had no respect for them stealing everyone's data, going ahead and pushing out this technology that has a comically bad failure rate, that goes ahead and continues to provide very little value out there, continues to have massive flaws in the way it operates, that continues to skim data off everyone's work, that continues to undermine the creative process of many writers and artists out there. But the moment that they get a taste of what they did to other creatives, they want to go ahead and cry. Good. Cry some more. I'm not sitting here in approval of what DeepSeek has done to you, but I'll tell you what, I have slightly more respect for DeepSeek than I do OpenAI. On a scale of 0 to 100, OpenAI has 0. DeepSeek has 2. That's it. So yeah, that's all of DeepSeek. How are things going to go from here? I don't know. Is this going to be some major renaissance in the world of generative AI now that you can go ahead and run this open source model on your own computer? I don't know. Is this really going to be, something huge? Probably not. The thing these people have to remember is that generative AI is still a product that no one is sure who it's for. No one is sure. Go ahead. Ask your parents. Ask your great uncle or whomever. What do you use AI for? Most people, no idea. Still to this day. Perhaps soon we'll actually see a great use case, and maybe all of my criticism of AI will very quickly be taken care of, and I'll be like, all right, I'm pro AI now. Maybe that'll happen. Right now, it's not looking like it. That being said, Alibaba says that it totally has an AI model that's ready to surpass DeepSeek. It'll be out soon. This new model called Owen 2.5 is now apparently out and allegedly outperforms DeepSeek as well as GPT 4.0 and Llama 3.1. I'm not gonna lie, not a whole lot of people have had a chance to go ahead and test this thing. It's currently the Lunar New Year, also in China, so it's very hard to get any sort of support or news or anything. But, you know, for the most part, there's a philosophy that's followed. The philosophy is trust, but verify. The thing is that so many breakthroughs from China have proven to be false or some kind of attempt to pull the wool over everyone's eyes or some kind of attempt to manipulate markets that's all done with fakery, that I no longer have any trust. It is now, for me, distrust and then verify. That's where I'm at right now. I cannot verify anything about this model right now. Therefore, all I can do is not trust it. That's all we can do. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Meanwhile, while I was out, Nvidia has launched the 5090 and the 5080. And whoo boy, the independent reviews from these GPUs are incredible. I want to show you what Nvidia first said was going to be the performance here. Here's what Nvidia first promised us for the 5090. Close to double the performance compared to the 4090. That is what was promised. I want you to guess, when you get rid of all the fancy bells and whistles, when it comes to raw performance, how much performance increase do you think the 5090 had compared to the outgoing 4090? Go on, guess. I can wait. Nvidia saying 100%. So, what? 80%? 70%? 60%? Anywhere from 15 to 36%, with a few outliers being all the way up to 46%. The 5090 actually is a decent performance increase. It's nowhere near as high as they tried to say it was with the 4090. But when we take away DLSS 3, its performance is about equal to its price increase. But here's what's more infuriating. Okay? The price goes up, the card gets smaller, the card runs hotter, but they remove the ability for you to detect how hot the hotspot is on the GPU. You pay $2,000 for a GPU, and you can't even monitor the temperatures correctly. Nvidia claims it's because this information is not valuable. To determine if the hottest spot on the GPU is getting so hot that it could bring the entire silicon to danger, apparently is not important. Nvidia, how stupid do you think we are? I'm actually offended by this. I'm offended by this logic of this thought process. It's terrible. Oh, and by the way, before any Nvidia fanboy starts going, well, of course, the performance is only 20%. You didn't enable DLSS 3, and therefore you didn't enable a multi-frame gen. Multi-frame gen. The ability for those AI cores to go ahead and generate all those extra frames. That's where the real performance is at. You'll never believe this. Did you know that the AI cores making up frames and weaving in 3 fake frames for every 1 real frame the game actually rendered? It turns out trying to play the game that way ends up having the game be a little jittery. It ends up having a quality hit to the game, a noticeable quality hit. I know. I'm shocked. Who would have thought trying to use the same sort of AI technology that hallucinates about mixing ammonia and bleach for fragrant water, which, by the way, will permanently damage your lungs. Don't do that. Trying to have that generate extra frames, not exactly the best idea in the world. I am shocked by this revelation. But here's the thing, right? The 5090 launched. We'll get into how well the sales went in a second. But the 5080 also launched. All right. And we do have, some other big, powerful, big, scary, impressive graphs from the 5080. I mean, look at this. Look at those bars. Over 2x performance increase compared to the 4080. Guess what the actual performance increase is compared to the 4080? What do you think the actual performance increase is? I can wait. I got to remember that all the pauses I'm putting in for people to answer are going to be cut out of the final version. You know what the actual performance increase is? Roughly 5%. The RTX 5080 is roughly the same performance increase of what would be a theoretical 4080 Ti if you disable DLSS 3. This pretty much assures that the claim that the RTX 5070 is going to be as powerful as a 4090, that is going to be a blatant lie. 100%. It is a blatant lie. Here's the truth about Blackwell. These are not gaming cards. I am now convinced the entire 5000 series is not designed for gaming. The entire RTX 5000 series, I am convinced, are AI workstation cards that they managed to find some software in the form of DLSS 3 to have them use their hardware flexing to emulate gaming, as well as occasionally render frames. This is not a generational improvement. This is less than a generational improvement. And quite frankly, I am disgusted with this. This is somehow worse than what the 4000 series was compared to the 3000 series. The 4000 series at least had a minor generational uplift. This doesn't even have that. This has a rounding error. And we're 2 GPUs in. You know what's even better about these GPUs? You know how they launched? They're out now. You can buy them. Yeah, JK, they didn't. This is a paper launch. The RTX 5080 and 5090 have completely sold out. And here's the killer. It is not because of overwhelming demand. It is because of low stock. Early numbers that were leaked out of various stores showed that many of them got anywhere between 0 and 5 of the 5090s total. The biggest exception that I saw in the research that I did was one store near Silicon Valley in California had 68 5090s. For a store that has a service area of close to, well, millions. The 5080 was also in low stock, being anywhere from 20 to 100 from store to store in what research I did. Granted, some of those numbers may not be correct. Some of those people might have just been making up stuff for the sake of drama. I fully admit that. But everything that's showing right now shows that this is far more of a Nvidia just didn't make enough than it is there's a high demand for this stuff. And here's what I gotta ask. Is it that they actually struggle to make this many GPUs? Is it because they would rather have more of the silicon chips go to actual server workstation AI cards than for gaming cards? Or is it that they intentionally kept the stock low to generate artificial hype and make it seem like the demand for these cards was way higher than it actually is? I don't know. I don't know the answer. And I'll be blunt. I don't think it really matters at this point. Nvidia is just going to do what Nvidia does. All we can do in the end is vote with our wallets. In my opinion, the 5000 series is a waste of money. I would not buy one. I would not buy one at retail price. I would not buy one at the scalper prices, which, by the way, yes, they are already being bought and scalped to the surprise of literally no one. And quite frankly, the best thing you can do is just not buy them at these prices. Just don't. Also, people are trying to post listings of just pictures of the GPU to trick people I don't know what the goal is with this, but it's a thing that's going on for some reason. Okay. Not sure what the goal is, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Oh well. Welcome to the state of GPUs. It just is what it is. And what's even worse is that for whatever reason, the price of these GPUs are going to go up even more as the current administration wants to slap tariffs on any chips made in Taiwan, specifically targeting TSMC, who makes the majority of all chips, all in the goal of trying to promote more companies to use locally manufactured silicon rather than Taiwan made silicon. Here's the problem. Current US foundries are not ready for that kind of volume. All this does is mark up artificially the price of all electronics coming into the US. This is actually a terrible plan. Like I always try to take a very neutral stance when it comes to politics. There's no way for me to look at this and say, yeah, no, this is a good plan because of this, and this. No, this isn't. This is a terrible plan. And I hope it is reversed immediately as soon as possible. This is terrible. This does no one any good. We're going to take hopefully our last break here. When we come back, I want to talk about, someone in chat says tariff is a verb. Apparently it's a verb now. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, I have a bit more tech news to talk about, but I also have to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. Yes, that's its name now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, let's talk about some other fun little Google shenanigans going on. I got two bad stories and one very good story, but nobody cares about it, if that makes any sense. So apparently, Google has decided that all of your firmware for the Pixel 4a are just going to vanish. They're all gone now. And in fact, the only update right now lowers the battery performance drastically. Now they go ahead and say, oh, but this is an error and we're going to go ahead and fix this immediately. But the fact that all the older firmware is also gone, so that the tech savvy cannot even go ahead and fix the issue, does make people wonder, what you doing, Google? Are you trying to be better at being Apple than Apple? Are you trying to go ahead and force people to upgrade by diminishing battery life? Are you being weird? Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking friendly. Not gonna lie. But all we can do is just kind of look at that and go, yep. Trust no one. Like, what's a phone company you trust anymore? Like, I can't trust Google because they do weird stuff like this, and then on top of that, have been so pro AI and making so many of their features rely on AI that once software updates stop, the phone is basically bricked. You got Samsung going ahead and out-appling Apple. You have Apple going ahead and just being Apple. You have Lenovo just not knowing what the heck their direction is in life. You have Sony. Is that actually just Sony? Okay, Sony might be the only one that we can actually trust anymore. Asus has gone ahead and had so many catastrophic issues with their customer service that it makes you wonder why anyone buys Asus stuff anymore. You have Xiaomi and Red, both owned by China, that makes you wonder, what sort of stuff's hiding under the hood there, which I still wonder what sort of stuff's hiding the hood there, because we found all sorts of other fun stuff from other versions of their phones. And then there's Huawei. Ooh, boy. Oh, Huawei. Someone in chat asked, does Sony still make phones? I'm 80% positive Sony still makes phones. Yes, Sony still makes phones. And by phones, I mean phone. Singular. No, two. Wait. I think it might be two. So far, it appears to still just be the Xperia 1V with no notch. It's out of stock. Might be out of stock forever. But this is definitely targeted more for photo nuts than it is going to be for the average person. There is an optical zoom. We can see the periscope lens right there for a true optical zoom. When did this phone release? I'm actually curious. Are we just looking at like a 5-year-old phone? Oh, this is actually current, May 23. Someone asked, can you use a control? No. I guarantee you it's not going to have functionality. It's out of stock, so are they still, is it actually being made? Let's see if it's in stock anywhere else. It is out of stock on their store, but other outlets like Amazon are in fact selling them new. Can I connect to the PS? No. This is going to be more, this is more from the Sony camera division than it is from the Sony PlayStation division. This is not a PlayStation phone. Don't get that kind of thought in your head. But no, this is coming up on almost a year old now. So, I mean, it would still be considered a current phone. This was announced last year. Wait, I said 23, didn't I? Ooh. All right, so it's a generation old now. I mean, still though, we need a PlayStation phone. You know what we need? We need a phone that doesn't cost a kidney. That's what we really need. We need a good phone that isn't like a cheap piece of garbage. That's actually like a decent price. Oh, actually, I can think of a phone brand that actually can provide. There is one kind of phone that can help, and that's nothing. Actually, wait, it's $700. All right, there we go, $600. Yeah, that's about all I got. But yeah, as far as like wanting a PlayStation phone, there used to be a PlayStation phone. It did not sell well. It was not popular like at all. So the odds of Sony going ahead and making another PlayStation branded gaming phone is 0. I shouldn't say 0. It's very, very, very low. But getting back to the topics on hand, we do have other Google news that's infuriating. And that being that some YouTube viewers are seeing up to 1 hour long unskippable ads. Someone in chat says it was just ahead of the times. It was not. It was actually not. No, the PlayStation phone was it was good on paper, but it turned out that like a PSP and a phone, nobody wanted them connected to each other. It just didn't work out all that well. And it's most likely never going to come back ever. You might be able to say, oh, but mobile gaming is so big. Yeah, mobile gaming, about that. Yeah, I just wouldn't get your hopes up. I just wouldn't. It wasn't ahead of the times. It was an okay idea, poorly executed. I mean, there's a reason why there isn't even a PS Vita current right now, or a PlayStation Portable that's current right now, other than the weird streaming tablet thing that also isn't doing very well. But yeah, hour-long unskippable ads. Not gonna lie, I'd be a little frustrated, especially if I got an 1 hour long unskippable ad for a 15-second clip. Now, the thing is that people are saying that they've had these long ads. The context is kind of lost, but a lot of people are suspecting that the reason for this is because of ad blockers. That it's something new that Google is doing because of them. Now, I have no way to confirm this, but I also have a hard time doubting it. Google, however, had the worst answer known to man for why people are getting 1 hour long unskippable ads. They say, and I quote, "Ads are a vital lifeline to our creators that help them run and grow their businesses. That's why the use of ad blockers violate YouTube's terms of service. We've launched a global effort to urge viewers with ad blockers to enabled to allow ads on YouTube or try YouTube Premium for an ad-free experience." What an amazing response that didn't answer anything. The issue is not that, okay, we don't like ad blockers, therefore we're going to do everything we can to get people to not use ad blockers, which, you know, that's been an ongoing thing. And quite frankly, I get where they're coming from. But here's the thing. The question is, why are people getting 1 hour long unskippable ads? Why do you have 1 hour long unskippable ads? What is the point of this? Do you know what 1 hour long unskippable ads do? 1 hour long unskippable ads makes you want to go to any other platform than YouTube. Let me go watch stupid content on TikTok. Let me go watch stupid content on Twitter. Let me go watch stupid content on Twitch. Let me go read a book. Let me go do anything other than watch an hour-long unskippable ad. This isn't answering the question. This isn't even like one person in chat say it's BS. It's oh, this is BS. I can't even say it's BS. It's just their answer to a completely different question. Imagine if you asked me, Eagle, why did you take 2 weeks off and didn't say anything? And my response was, well, you see, in the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, I have an alternate account that needs to go ahead and get several clears on the current savages so that they can get the gear they want so that they can look pretty. That didn't answer the question. You can imply that that's the answer to the question, just like I can imply that what YouTube is saying here is in fact the answer to why people are getting 1 hour long unskippable ads, which would be a really stupid answer because it's not the answer to the question. Just like why I was gone for 2 weeks, the answer being because I wanted to go play the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV on a blue cat girl for 2 weeks would be a stupid answer and also an incorrect one. The reason I wasn't here for 2 weeks was because I was sick and could not talk for long stretches of time. So what is this PR department? YouTube, you're drunk. You're drunk. Give me your keys. We need to move on from you, Google. Let's actually talk about a rare Google win. All right. Those of you who said that you care about this thing that Google did, that is good, but I said most people probably don't care about. Let's see if you actually do care about. Ladies and gentlemen, Google has made something open source. You might be wondering, what they make open source? Do you know what they made open source? I can show you, actually. Or I could show you. If I can find it. There it is. You know what they made open source? They made this open source. For those of you who have no idea what this is or are on audio only, so you can't tell what I'm holding, this is one of the first, if not the first, smartwatch. This is the Pebble. Pebble has had an interesting history. It was a small indie project. It launched the Pebble, which I hold here, and launched 2 other versions of the Pebble that were e-ink displays with a battery that lasted up to a week. It was fascinating, especially compared to modern devices. And also these just were very simple smartwatches that just did what they needed to. Physical buttons, no touchscreen. Very simple, cheap, kind of ideal. Well, Pebble was then acquired by Fitbit, which was then acquired by Google. And thus, the small little hipster project died. Google has announced, along with the team that worked on it, the operating system of the Pebble, Pebble OS, has been refined and is now open source. Now there is an even smaller company called Rebel that makes Pebble clones that is now ecstatic over this. They love the concept of, hey, the actual operating system is now open source. We can go ahead and get that on our hardware. Bing, bang, boom, we're done. But the thing is, it's open source. Anyone can now go ahead and make a simple watch on this operating system. And that's the beauty of it. It's a simple smartwatch. It can control your phone, just like the other Pebble did. There's no need for any sort of crazy health sensors, though you could add them if you wanted to. There's no need for a built-in touchscreen. There's no need for any sort of crazy high-end requirements that many modern smartwatches want. If you just want something simple, like lets you skip through your media, hit answer a call when you have a Bluetooth headset on, and probably most importantly, is just lightweight and therefore doesn't have a battery life of less than a day, and potentially, if they're using e-ink like the original did, battery life of a week plus. This is great news for you. I, for one, am actually kind of stoked because I'm not going to lie, I kind of miss the simple days with this little Pebble. This guy doesn't work anymore. His internal battery is super shot, and probably his processor died with it, but, you know, I still have it. It's still a keepsake. It's still, you know, a nice little cheap smartwatch. I, for one, am very curious to see what other small companies do with this operating system. Perhaps we'll see a resurgence of this tech, or perhaps it will remain, as one person kind of put in the chat, as hipster tech. In other good news, Sony did not go ahead and make us a PlayStation phone. I'm sorry for the few people who wanted that. But Sony did actually do some other good. Sony has announced that they are doing a PSN account overhaul for PC games and are not requiring it for many of their upcoming PC games, such as Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and many more. Good job, Sony. You went ahead and did the thing that people wanted you to do for a year now. For doing something an entire year after people wanted you to do something, you get a small baby clap. You can barely hear it on the microphone, but trust me, it's there. That's what you get. You get a baby clap and a good job. Meanwhile, Nintendo got sick of the leaks. There's no other way to say this, all right? So Nintendo launched a trailer, okay? In fact, I can play it right here for the for the video people without the audio, all right? So at CES, for those who don't know, there were leaks, or rather, there were mock-ups of the Nintendo Switch 2, all based on the rumors. And people just assumed, oh my god, they leaked the Switch 2, oh my god. And it was just mock-ups based on the actual thing. Nintendo got so sick of it, they just put out a quick, how long is this trailer? 2 minutes and 20 seconds trailer showcasing the look of the Switch 2, announcing they'll give more information in a few months. I am dead serious. That's it. They gave us a teaser trailer, refused to elaborate, said we'll get more info in April. You want my theory? Here's my theory. I don't think they intended on making this trailer at all. I think they wanted to hold on to this trailer until April when the actual announcement was going to be, because every other rumor we heard in the early stages of the Switch 2 rumor mill suggested the announcement was going to be in spring of 25. I am convinced that is what they originally planned. But because of the leaks that happened at CES, they just decided, all right, fine, we're done. Here you go. Shut up. Because they did not want to have a situation like they did with the mythical Switch Pro. Remember that? Remember the Switch Pro? The rumors that started about the Switch OLED version? But then everyone just started making up stuff that people started thinking, oh my god, it's going to be a mid-cycle refresh. It's going to have increased performance. It's going to have more RAM. It's going to have more performance. Oh my god, it's going to be so amazing. And that turned out to not be anything. And then it caused Nintendo's price or stock to tank. Yeah, they wanted to prevent that. That's what this was. I am convinced of this. Someone in chat says they'll be showing new versions of Mario Kart 8. I think that's Mario Kart 9 because it does have a few things are different compared to Mario Kart 8, because that had up to 25 people, and that's not a feature Mario Kart 8 has. But here's the thing. I don't want to speculate like that, because that kind of wild speculation of just trying to like glean that kind of extra information, that's how you end up with rumors about a Switch Pro. It's fun to kind of guess about that sort of stuff, that, oh, there's gonna be a Mario Kart 9, or, oh, the Joy-Con looks like it can be used as a mouse by gliding on it. They teased it in the thing by having it glow in a thing. We don't have solid proof of that yet. We don't have solid evidence of that yet. We have a theory based on a video and a rumor. You could look at that and say, oh yeah, that's definitely going to happen. Or we can wait for actual facts to come out or more evidence before we declare it so. That being said, a lot of people are also saying this internal connector inside the sides of the Switch 2 are going to break like nobody's business. I don't think they are. Weird take on my side, I know. I don't think the inside connectors on the rails are going to break, because for things to break like that, they need to work back and forth. But the tolerances look so tight, there's no wiggle room. The only way that thing can go is in and out. I think that connector is going to be just fine. And I think the only way you're going to break it is by doing something incredibly stupid with the Switch while the Joy-Cons are out. That is my theory with that. That being said, I think it still would have been much smarter that instead of connectors like they had there, to instead do pogo pins. That would have been a lot more, that would have been a lot smarter design. But we'll have to see when things go. Someone in chat's like, we can speculate now. No, I'm not doing that. Because then when I'm wrong, people are going to be like, oh, you said it's going to do you said it's going to do my dishes. No, I speculated it might be able to do your dishes because I had a robo arm. Oh, but you said. I don't like speculating. It makes people put words in my mouth I didn't say. And that's not good for anyone, especially me. I think with this, though, I'm going to go ahead and just move on to the last burb. The last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, a robotic hand has been developed to help pianists. Someone in chat is already calling me out. You said it wasn't going to be called the Switch 2. Yep, I was wrong. It is, in fact, being called the Switch 2. I'll address that. You know, I felt there was no way it was going to be called the Switch 2. It seemed too simple. And Nintendo's past naming scheme, they never just call something, they never just add +1 to a name. It's always something like the new DS or the Wii U or the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. You know, it's always something like really out there. In fact, in the game console world, just calling something like name +2 or name +1 is pretty much like Sony exclusive. Even Xbox or Microsoft doesn't know how to count. We went Xbox to Xbox 360 to Xbox One as the third generation somehow, to the Xbox Series S, but also the Xbox Series X. Sony's like the only one that goes PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5. Like the rumor saying that it was going to be called the Switch 2 seemed like the dumbest rumor out of all of them. So I still stand by my decision to doubt that rumor because everything lined up for that rumor to be incorrect. And it turned out to be correct. I'm still surprised by that they actually went ahead and called the Switch 2. It seemed incredibly silly, but they did it. It also now makes me wonder, does it just be Switches from here on out? Or is there going to be a Switch 3? You've opened the door, Nintendo. Someone asked you to be able to play Switch games on your Switch 2. Yes. They say on the thing, pretty early on in... Oh yeah, it's right there. They say right there you can play Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games on a Switch 2. Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported or fully compatible with the Switch 2. Details will be shared on Nintendo's website at a later date. Nintendo Switch Online members can continue using services on the Nintendo Switch 2. The biggest thing is going to be if certain sensors that were used for your game on the Switch are just not present on the Switch 2. That would make it so your game is not playable. Like, I would not look at this going, oh, they're going to get rid of all the things. Oh, no, that. Anyway, robotic hand. Yeah, there's a robotic hand that's going to help pianists become better pianists. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the first step in cyborg piano players. The whole point is to get over a function called ceiling effect, where it's supposed to be able to help a pianist's hands move more. I don't even know what the right word is for it. Dexterous, I believe would be the correct word. But the actual mishealing effect is where their skill level just plateaus after a while and just cannot seem to move well enough to get over that. But with the help of this exoskeleton, they can train their hand to get beyond their current skill level. I'm just let's just go ahead and connect dots that don't exist. All right, we're in the last break. We can go ahead and be silly. Cyborg piano players. You want to know how we get into a cyberpunk world? This is how. Cyborg piano players. That is how it's going to go down. Just wait until you see the new anime about that one. It's going to be wild. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening. It is good to be back. I hope that this will continue to be a thing. But do please check out my other works, youtube.com/EagleFalcon and twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. Hopefully I will be returning to regular schedules and streamings as a result of being able to complete a full this podcast, this was a test. Can I go ahead and talk for how long we've been going for? 3 hours without going into a coughing fit. That was the test. And I'd say, I think I passed. So with that, take care, and I hope you have a great day. All right, I gotta ask now. We have cyborg piano players. We have AI doing more and more and more. Would I have just been better off just making an AI fill-in host for when I was out sick? Would that have just been the better thing to do? You know, part of me actually kind of wonders that. Yeah, no, I just answered my own question. No, it's a terrible idea. You know what's going to end up happening? It's going to say stupid stuff. I'd have to go in and script everything for the blasted thing, and I was not feeling well enough to go ahead and do that. The point is, we're all going to be replaced, and the dead internet theory is real. It's all coming for us. Ooh.